Our guest tonight is wrestling legend and actor Goldberg. How you doing?
I'm doing great, brother.
Well, listen, you have a starring role in the movie Checkpoint, which is about terrorism right here in the United States. What made you want to be part of the project originally, and what are some of the lessons that can be taken from the film to help protect America now?
Well, I think vigilance is the first thing that you need to take from it. The reality is the reason why I got involved with the project was the script. The script threw me through a bit of a loop once I read through it, and it was entertaining. And then to be able to portray an enlisted man, a war veteran, decorated, and tried to tell a story in modern day about a guy who, ending up to be a hero in modern day form because of, what's going on with today's society. I mean, obviously terrorism is at the top of the list. It's happening not only abroad, but as we see in the past couple of years, it's happened quite frequently on American soil. And ironically, with the day we wrapped the movie Checkpoint was the day that the recruiting facility in Tennessee got attacked. And at the end of the day, it's, bringing it to the forefront in an entertaining way, but being responsible at the same time in portraying the fine men and women who protect our country, number one, and number two, trying to entertain and tell a story at the same time and have some responsibility in telling that story.
Well, in addition to Checkpoint, it was recently announced that you will be the star and produce a new action film called Bauer, where you play a veteran Special Forces soldier. What was it about this film that got you so excited for the role, and how much pride do you take in representing our armed services, as you just said, while filming these movies?
Yeah, I take the utmost pride in representing the men who serve in our armed forces. It is something that I try to bring to the forefront every day of my life, and that I try to bring attention, as I said, to the men and women who so unselfishly protect our freedom. The reason why I got involved with Bauer is that it's a progression in the movie-making realm throughout the years, whether it be in the wrestling business or in the movie business or the television business. I have tended to give more of an input than a normal actor would give. Therefore, as I said, it was a natural progression. I had a good relationship with the producers with the last film, and they wanted to venture out, and they proposed this option to me, and I got my best friend, second unit directing and helping with production, Matt Kusher of Spectrum Special Effects, and he's involved in the project, therefore immediately solidifying its positive take on the public. I mean, this guy's done anywhere from all the Pirates of the Caribbean movies to Planet of the Apes series to anything and everything in between. So stunts and special effects, I'm very much looking forward to how we portray it in that movie. But like I said, at the end of the day, to be able to positively portray the people who fight so unselfishly for our freedom is a true honor, and I take that with a lot of responsibility. So it's just a new venture for Mr. Goldberg.
Brandon Gavin?
If you were able to create your own original series for WWE Network or an original movie with WWE Studios, would you be open to working with them, and what type of show or movie would you like to produce? Also, are there any wrestlers that you think would make a good supporting cast?
Oh, yeah, man. There are a lot of wrestlers that would make a good supporting cast no matter what you do. The reality is it's a good transition from what they do to what I'm doing now. It's truly not much different. Whether it be a fight scene or whether it be character development or whether it be storyline, that's what these guys do, and they perfect it each and every day. Obviously, the longer you're in, the better you are at your craft, and I think it's a natural segue. I mean, we've seen a lot of people do it. It's not something that I aspired to do by any stretch of the imagination, but it's an option that's out there, and it's entertaining. you asked me about the WWE Network and if I'd ever considered doing something with them. Well, right now they actually have a car show sitting right in front of them that they're a little bit interested in, and you never know. I have no issues whatsoever working with the WWE, as you see now with my involvement with WWE 2K17.
Well, speaking about that, we spoke with Trish Stratus just recently, and she talked about how wrestling has really helped her prepare for her fight scenes and her action scenes in her new movie. How did your experience wrestling help you in the field of acting, and what are some of the differences, the biggest differences between acting and wrestling?
Biggest difference between acting and wrestling is you have the ability to say cut and do it again when you're acting. That makes professional wrestlers very good at their craft, whether their craft is storytelling, whether it's setting up a fight scene. It makes no difference because, as I said, that's what we do every day. That's what those guys do. I don't do that anymore. But every day you step foot in the wrestling business, whether it be the building or the ring, it's like an internship for segueing into Hollywood. Because truthfully, it's the same thing. At the end of the day, the biggest difference, like I said, is that for a fight scene, you have much more pressure on you working in your underwear live in front of millions of people than you do a closed set where the director can say, cut, let's do it again, because that punch didn't look too good. So you can perfect your craft by continuing to do it over and over again until you get the finished product. You don't have that luxury in the wrestling business.
Mike Chiari?
You made mention of WWE 2K17, and I think that your inclusion probably came as a big surprise to a lot of fans since you've been away from WWE for so long. So what was the process like in terms of coming to an agreement to be in the game? Who did you have to talk to, and how did everything kind of come together to make that a reality?
Well, I don't have to talk to anybody. I spoke with 2K directly, and 2K and or Barry Bloom did all the interaction with the WWE. Truly, I don't think this year is any different than the rest, except for the fact that they checked off on it. I think 2K has presented me as either a cover or a downloadable character for a number of years. It's just, I think time may have healed a little bit of the wounds, and they went with it this year. That's the only difference.
Brendan Galvin?
We've seen legends in the past go on to be inducted into WWE's Hall of Fame after being included in the new WWE video game. Has there been any discussion or thought about you being inducted into the 2017 class?
I can't divulge what goes on in those guys' brains. I have had no conversation, no mention of anything. In all honesty, gentlemen, this is a relationship between 2K and myself with the video game, and I aspire to do nothing else in that this was a deal between them and myself. I don't think it opens the door to anything, but stranger things have happened, and just know that at the end of the day, the reason why I did this is to put a smile on my 10-year-old's face, not to get put the boots on and get back in the ring.
Mike Chiari?
Well, I think the fact that you're involved with WWE 2K17 now, there's probably even more demand for you and your brand among wrestling fans. What would be your interest level if something came to the table in terms of maybe a Legends contract so that WWE could produce some Goldberg-related merchandise and things of that nature?
I don't know what the Legends contract entails. I'm not going to sign a document and go on as a stock talent and be thrown in a pool of people. I think if I was to ever do something with them, it would have to be something special. I'm open to speaking about merchandise with them in the future for sure. Hey man, at the end of the day, it's an open conversation, but beyond the video game, there's been no talk.
BG?
Well, you stated in the past that you like to wrestle at WrestleMania again so your son could see you perform, and you've mentioned potential opponents such as Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. is there anybody else on WWE's current roster that you would have interest in working with?
Oh man, I don't really. I'm not familiar with the product. And you stated that I said that I'd like to come back at WrestleMania. I don't ever remember saying that. I said that I would entertain an offer to get back in the ring, to put a smile on my son's face. Specifically, if you say that WrestleMania is my target, then it sounds as if I'm begging to be a part of something that people don't want me to be a part of, and that's truly not the case by any stretch of the imagination. So, like I say, as far as current talent, hey, as long as it makes sense, I'm good. I'll go with anybody. I don't care. I'm 49 years old. I made a statement about 100 years ago that I never could see myself wrestling past the age of 40, but I never knew that I'd be in this kind of shape past the age of 40. I never knew that I'd still be training 6 days a week, and I'd still be doing Muay Thai, kickboxing 3 to 4 days a week. Now, unfortunately, right now, since I'm recovering from a chainsaw accident, I can't be doing that. But, my normal week consists of heavy training. And so to think that it's something that could be done, obviously with a hell of a lot of work, but I mean, it's a reality. It can definitely be done. As far as past opponents, I mean, there's always a Brock Lesnar. There's a Triple H. There's a lot of storylines that have been kind of left open. So, I mean, who knows, man? I never said that I was a booker by any stretch. It'd be an absolute honor to ever grace the ring with Undertaker. Obviously, I'd like to get my hands on Steve Austin, but that's only because he drank all my beer at my house last week. But, at the end of the day, gentlemen, I think the wrestling business needs to be a little bit like Scott Coker and Bellator, in that you got to give people what they want to see. And so I will close with that statement.
Mike Chiari, final question?
Well, you just made mention of Brock Lesnar, and he's been making headlines lately because he's going to fight at UFC 200 while still under a contract with WWE. So as somebody who's been involved with MMA, how do you anticipate Brock faring in that fight, and what advice would you give to him as he tries to balance two really demanding, successful careers?
Well, first and foremost, I got to go on record as taking my hat off to Brock in his business sense, because what he's done pretty much mirrors what my plan was if MMA was an option at that time. Unfortunately, the pay scale wasn't what it is now, and so the option wasn't as realistic. But, man, you got to take your hat off to him. I think the way he's been able to balance it all has been brilliant. I don't think it's too much for him, in that he could continue to train like a fighter, he could keep himself in shape consistently to fight MMA and be able to transition based on muscle memory and do anything that's ever asked for him in the wrestling ring. How he is going to fare against Mark Hunt, anytime, I don't care who you are, anytime two people step in the octagon, it's anybody's game. Ask Conor McGregor, ask Jose Aldo, ask a number of people that, walked in there with an attitude and they got it knocked out of their ass, in a matter of seconds. So, you go based upon, who the veteran is in the fight. And I mean, Mark Hunt has had some absolute stand-up wars with people, whether it's his days in K1 or whether it was his transition to MMA and Pride. This dude is a monster, and he carries some thunderous shots in both hands. And, he has, since his foray into MMA from kickboxing, he began by working on his takedown defense. How he works off his back, that's not the most favorable place for him. And obviously that's where Brock wants to take the fight. If the fight stays on their feet, Hunt's got a chin that is like granite. So I don't know how much chance Brock has on his feet, but I do know that Brock has a huge advantage on the ground. I don't care how big you are. I think Brock's going to be able to hold you down and get those hammer fists right through your skull. So it's going to be a very entertaining fight. Hats off to the guys who booked it. And, obviously they're both friends of mine, but, I just want an entertaining fight, and may the best man win.
Well, a huge thank you to our guest, Bill Goldberg. Catch him stealing the show in the movies Checkpoint and Bauer. Tell the fans where else they can support you.
Oh, man, everybody knows. Go to Goldberg95 on Instagram, Goldberg on Twitter, and BillGoldberg.com website, man. And at the end of the day, big thank you to all the fans out there who still remember who I am. Greatly appreciate it. And, we're segueing into some bigger and better things. So look to all my social media accounts for some updates, because we got some cool shit going on. Actually, tonight is a show on the History Channel with the guy Magnus Walker, and I'm his first guest. And I'm ripping up the pavement in a couple of my cars, so check it out.
Fantastic. Another huge thank you. Good luck moving forward.
Thanks, brother.